What's up, everyone? You're listening to Supercar Stories, the Fast Business podcast. We're sitting here with James Mack. Say hello, James.
How you doing?
We've got Mr. Higgs on the line as well.
Hey, guys.
We've got Mr. Beckett over there in the corner. So, yeah, James, thanks for coming on the podcast, mate. Really appreciate it. Cheers, Higgsy, for setting it up.
Cool.
For everyone watching, James is the owner of the beautiful R8 V10 in the background there, in crisp white, a few tasteful mods. Nice car. You know, what's your story and how'd you get in the driver's seat? We want to try and unpack it a little bit more. So instead of it being kind of like bullet points of like, oh yeah, I was into cars when I was young and then I did this and I made a lot of money or whatever. It's kind of like, you know, where'd the passion come from? What made you get into cars? What experiences did you have when you were younger that sort of made you a bit entrepreneurial and things like that? So yeah, I guess we could start off by just giving us a bit of a rundown on your life story.
Yeah, no worries. Well, I guess probably started at a young age, to be fair. Was born in London. Always loved cars. My dad was well into cars too. So
yes,
kind of him having the fast cars and the Datsuns and, you know, the bits and pieces kind of made me go, yeah, I'm keen for this. He had a Golf GTI and he used to let me change the gears when he was driving and that made me feel, you know, like I was racing it. But yeah, no, I grew up in England. So Dad was a big part of top deck travel. Yeah. So we had, you know, we had some luxuries of being able to travel and get around and, you know, get into Europe. And it was always for me cars. It was just a thing that I was very much into. And then when I came to Australia, I think it was in 2000, must have been about 14, and went to school here. Friends, similar interests was cars, and first job was at Autobahn.
Yeah, nice.
Runaway Bay. And
that's going back.
Man, it is, hey. And there's some really good dudes there. I was the youngest, and it was always about trying to sell things, you know. It was always about get someone in and try and upsell them on a product and, you know, who could do the best upsell for the day. And we used to count our sales. And there's a guy, Paul, who came in probably about halfway through my time there, and he was very knowledgeable about cars. And at that point in time, I was really much into imports. So I was like
JDMs and that.
Yeah, like I don't know if you've heard of Garage Hiramatsu.
Yep.
Paul. Yeah. So I got one of his cars, and I was very much into the whole drifting scene, and just kept going. Obviously, my taste was starting to outdo the dollars that I had in the bank.
That's not best. That's pretty standard.
Yeah. So I just kind of had to step it up and get really good at what I was. You know, what I felt I was pretty good at, because my father was, like I said, into business. So he sort of gave me a lot of background as to if you're successful in business, you should have money to be able to buy what you want. So, I just really focused on that. I ended up leaving as 2IC there, and I went to Vodafone. So I was selling mobile phones, trying to sell people onto the, you know, the upgraded phone and the package. And obviously you get paid to do that with your connection. So yeah, that's kind of where it started. And then my sales journey just continued. I've sort of been through, Autobahn and Vodafone, both in sales roles. And then I was doing a little bit of website design stuff for Australian Explorer, a really, really good guy called Mick, and Claire. So again, that was trying to like work out how to sell things. Started up a little Simply the Best Buy, which was a website. Ended up like listing heaps of products for dropship. Kind of did that. It must be like, I don't know, nearly 20 years ago, 18 years ago. So, you know, I wouldn't say it was common to do that back then. I was kind of like on the front of that and with the way in which I was doing it. And then things just developed. I ended up moving that on and started selling furniture up at Cotswold Furniture in Brisbane. So it's always been for me, the passion from cars and selling and trying to always buy and sell cars. I don't know how many cars I've had, mate, but it'd be over 30.
Yeah.
My first car actually was a Suzuki Swift GTI with that little 1.3 litre motor in it, and fuck that thing, man. You used to be able to rev the shit out of that thing. Like I don't know, I think it was like 9 or 10,000 RPM.
I didn't like it, but it still did.
It was just black, had the red neons going on. We used to meet at the car park. And like,
from Autobahn, cost price.
Yeah, and that's pretty much where the car and the Autobahn, and then buying and selling cars and doing them up and making them look, you know, appealing to the buyer, selling them and making a bit of side money. And that's just when the cars started happening. I was only ever doing one at a time. But after that Suzuki, it was a Pulsar Triple S.
Yeah, that's a sick
No, the
car.
3 S's down the side and the weird looking wing.
Everybody wanted one of them.
Yeah,
it's like the Porsche Aero wing, eh? Kind of.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's like
sick.
it's come back. So yeah, man, that was sort of where I went from that to that, and then it was Skylines. So I think it was like 5 or 6 of those. Some big power, one particularly big power GDR 32 that I wish I had now. Fuck.
Oh, could you imagine?
Yeah.
They've gone up through the roof. Worth the house.
That's worth some coin now.
GTR was.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And then I think I don't know what my first. Oh no, I was 21 when I bought my first R8. It was I actually lost my license at the time, and
you were 21, or it was 2021.
No, I was 21.
Holy fuck! When you bought your first R8.
Yeah.
Hectic, man.
And that
He
was
was just flipping neons at whatever, left, right, and centre.
Yeah.
Upgrading plans.
Yeah, there was plenty of them. No, because I started at BBC Digital actually at that point. And I started, I was 21, 22 years old. Now my wife, I just met her. I actually didn't have a license at the time, but I thought it was a good idea to buy this car sight unseen from WA. I don't know what got into me, but I was keen. And anyway, it arrived. We went up, pick it up from the yard up in Brisbane, because that's kind of where they all go when they do interstate. I think it was Seaver. Seaver was the transport company.
They're big, yeah.
Yeah, so got them to take it to their Brisbane depot. My wife and I, we went up with her father. She drove her Mini back. Her father and I drove the R8 back. He got pulled over by the cops and got a speeding fine. So
no.
And then, had that car for a while. My wife drove me around in it for ages. I mean, she's like 5 foot and 45 kilos, probably less. And yeah, she was hilarious, like sitting up on the dash, trying to change the gears.
Was it a manual?
Yeah, it was a manual.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, those old gate shift, like epic.
Yeah.
And it was really cool.
V8, V8, the Gen 1.
It's like an 07, yeah. It was like one of the first ones.
Did you get to drive it?
I did. I actually drove it up and down her street. They had a house out at Shearwater at that point. Yep. So I was, as soon as we got home, I got in it, but I didn't go far and I wasn't speeding, I promise.
Yeah. This is a safe place.
But yeah, look, I mean, that really for me, the passion for cars there, and then it was RS5, RS7. I got that thing absolutely tweaked off its head with aftermarket turbos, and that was a really cool car. S5, RS5, RS7. I've always loved Audis. An S3, and then 4 R8s.
Wow.
So
jeez.
I have had like a Lamborghini, and I've had like other.
Actually, I think I've seen that. You had an orange Gallardo on stage,
fluorescent
and
orange
didn't
one.
it have blue neons in the engine bay as well? Or
Maybe.
has that happened since it's gone on?
That's probably not me.
Yeah,
because I don't think orange and blue really match.
Yeah, I mean that's why I remember it so well. I was like, that's bold, but okay.
Yeah. No, look, the car itself was cool. It was a gate shift V10 manual, and
was it Ligera?
Yeah, well, it had the Ligera kit, but it wasn't a Ligera. Yeah, but it had the kit, and it was fully updated, so it actually had all like the 2012 updates, and it looked mean.
They sound unreal too, eh?
Oh, that thing had piped just straight. It was.
Yeah,
very cool.
I often there's a video that gets around on Facebook. I was asked by a good friend of mine to take his 5-year-old son. It was his birthday, to take him for a ride, and I took him down to the ice cream shop. He had ice cream on him, and I was coming out of Paradise Point in first, and I smacked second. The ice cream just went all over him, and he was just smiling from ear to ear. He just couldn't believe it, the sound and that. And I'm like, "You all right?" And he's like, "Yeah." He's just hanging on. It was it was really good. That car, I loved it. The sound of it, you're right, man. That is spot on, that car. Yeah. These cars sound pretty damn good. With the pipe that I've put on it. Yeah.
I saw you've got the valve pipe on there. What model's that?
It's a F1. They call it. It's from England. It's a Top Gear F1 pipe. So they obviously trying to replicate that high pitched. It sounds good when it's anything from 6 on. It sounds quite impressive. So I know, but yeah, I'm stuck on that thing now, and I really like it. I don't get out in it much. Many reasons, but yeah, I'm driving around a Tesla Model Y Performance as a daily.
Yeah, right.
So something that's
it's all blacked out as well, huh?
Yeah,
I've seen that at Paradise Point a couple of times.
Yeah, it's a cool car. It's different. I was really unsure about that whole Tesla thing.
It'll be good to get your honest feedback about this, right? Because this is the area that we're moving into, right? Everything's going all electric. Even all the supercars are going to be going down that. So you're coming from someone that's had raw supercars, you know, gated Gelatos, all that kind of stuff, to now 10 years later we're going full electric.
Yeah, it's different. Yeah, it is. I mean, like I had the Model 3 on order, and I don't know what was going on with Tesla, but it was a bad time for them because I was waiting. I think I waited like nearly 2 years for this car, and I was kind of like, I've had enough. And then they released this Y Performance. So I'm like, well, why have I got the 3? Because for me, having a 2-year-old and stuff, it kind of made sense to have something with a bit more space.
Yeah, and a bit bigger SUV kind of style.
Yeah, so that's kind of like what we ended up doing. I cancelled that order, ended up buying the Model Y, and I got the Model Y Performance about 3 months. 3 months after I ordered it.
You know, they're really annoying. Like I put an order in for a Model S Plaid, and I got an email about a week ago saying, sorry, we can't fulfill it.
I did the same thing.
Yep.
Like, had the same thing.
And I've only been waiting like a year and a bit.
Yeah. I thought, you know, for the money they take, I'd order anything that looks cool.
Yeah.
I mean, I just tore up $300 for, or maybe it was $350 for the Model 3, but really there was no point taking delivery of that.
Yeah.
And then a month or two later, I was going to have the Y. I didn't need to. And look, I've tried to get my wife into it. I can't get her out of her Cayenne, mate. She just loves that thing.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
She absolutely loves it. And there is a beautiful car.
They are.
So yeah, I did. I was strategic in my approach. I was like, I'll get the Y Performance. Hopefully she likes it. Give it to her, and then I'll get something else again. But that's not happening.
Yeah. So why did you go that direction, like a full electric? Like you're a car guy. Like
well, it kind of goes back to work. So with my role previously that I've been in for close to 15 years, it's a sales rep role, and so you manage clients and you look after, you know, their best interests with their print hardware as well as, you know, software and automation around document management and accounts payable, like solutions, and that's kind of what we do. So at BBC Digital, we spend a lot of time, you know, focusing on an area as a territory as such, and so I don't know why, but I just ended up with Area 5, and Area 5 ends up being pretty much Palm Beach to Pottsville, and then Murwillumbah to Mudgeeraba. So I just have this very large area that's very far away from where I live at Paradise Point. And so I'm always travelling, and the cost of fuel, it just, to me, made a lot of sense to try this whole, you know, Tesla thing. I've got solar on the roof, charge it. That doesn't cost me anything. Essentially, I'm just, you know, banking a bit of extra money each month by not having a car that requires servicing as well as fuel.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden my role changes, and I'm, after 15 years of, you know, being what some people would say very successful in that sales and account management role with the company, they promoted me to the general manager of the company. So I'm now not doing that driving, and I'm sort of got this electric car that, you know, at one point I was going to even think about selling the car that I've got, but now I love that R8 so much, it's not going to go anywhere, and it can kind of be a car that I drive more because I'm only driving to Southport. It's a 15-minute drive for me. So
you can pick and choose.
Yeah, so the idea, give the wife the Tesla and then, you know, sell the Porsche and do something cool with the money. But anyway, that's not happening, I'm told.
Did I see correct recently? You've also just got another Porsche. Was it a 992?
Oh, I've been waiting for that. So I don't know how
this.
much I can say about it because there's a really good guy at Porsche Gold Coast that looks after me, and he just gave me a heads up about my order and that they could have given me my delivery, but due to our friendship, he said, look, there's something a little interesting happening with this model, and there's going to be some changes to the way that it looks, both inside and out. And it's going to be probably 6 months after we're going to give you delivery of your new 911. And I just said, look, thanks for the heads up, mate. I'll wait. You know, I've got an R8 and a Porsche and a Tesla. I don't need another one in there.
Another brand new Porsche.
So it made sense for me to say, like, I've still got the order in, and when they start, like when he can give me a bit of a timeline, then I can decide whether I'm going to fulfill that order. But I do absolutely love the 911s, and I love Porsche, actually, to be fair. Very, very well built car.
Yeah, sick.
Yeah.
I wonder what those changes are.
Look, it's definitely it's something to do. It's like a facelift, essentially. So when they did the 991 and they did the .2s, There was changes to tail lights, steering wheel, interior, like rear guard, front guard, exhaust positioning on some of them. So he just said, look, wait, because it's going to be pretty cool. But then he sort of backhanded it with, well, I've got this Taycan GTS that, there's a 2-year wait. Would you like that? So I was meant to look at that yesterday. I actually went in and had the Porsche serviced, and he said, oh, come and have a look at this car. I've got it on hold for you, see if you want it. But to be fair, I've got lots going on with stuff outside of the cars for me. Like I'm sort of into boats as well. So I've recently got another day boat, and I'm, I don't need another headache.
Yeah.
People are saying to me, why are you doing it? My bike's in the middle of a build as well. I've just put a 360 rear on the V-Rod.
Yeah, right.
And so there's just a lot going on.
Yeah.
I need to complicate it with another vehicle.
Jeez.
People don't realise that too, eh? Like the more toys and crap you have, the more headache you have that goes with it.
Oh, man.
Like it's all well and good to have a nice car, but to have multiple and you constantly having to like treat them differently, or they've got to go to a certain shop to get stuff done. Like it's not all fun and games.
No, it isn't.
Regos.
And it's also the fact that, Rego, I just had the Rego come for one of the skis, and I don't even remember using the ski like I think the last time.
Yeah, exactly. $700 for nothing.
Like I don't use it enough, I'll put it that way.
Yeah.
It's not used enough.
Is this one of the new skis, the Apex, is it?
Yeah, so that's a funny story actually. I bought that Apex because I was told I was going to make heaps of money on it. It's going to be really rare and no one's going to have one. And I was lucky to get my money back, to be honest.
Really?
So, yeah, they had like a Daniel Ricciardo special. It was like carbon fibre and like an old English green. A beautiful looking ski, don't get me wrong, lovely. But yeah, I mean, there was all these rumours that people were, we put our name down, deposit. I think there was, all the numbers are conflicting, but I think maybe 15, say, on the Gold Coast. And then, no one's going to be able to get one. People are just buying them from interstate.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And interstate had way bigger allocations, and all of a sudden, I'm told 45 grand and I can pay 34. Sounds like an easy 10 grand, right? I'm going to do it. But no, I think I got 35.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
After what, a year or something?
Oh no, I moved it quickly, mate. The longer I had it, I thought the worse it was going to get. So
Yep.
yeah,
It's a lot of money for a jet ski, eh? Like,
Yeah,
it is.
that is.
It is. There's I've got like the yellow 3-seater RX TX, and they're a beautiful thing with the digital dash and all that. And I paid 17.5 grand.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And like that same ski is now 35.
Yeah. Crazy, eh?
Kidding.
Yeah, I didn't buy it new. It had 9 hours on it, but really it was like new. So you just can't buy that now.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah. Me and
Wild.
Mr. Higgs had a couple Sparks, the Trix versions, and
yeah.
man, we bought them.
Bang for buck on those things.
We bought them cheap, like full retail at the time, almost. Thanks to Anthony at JSW hooking us up.
Yeah, he's a legend.
Oh, mate.
Squiddy.
Top bloke. But we had a lot of fun with them. I've still got mine, but it's going to our producer upstairs, Jai, if he's around. He's put his hand up. He wants it. But yeah, like you made money on yours and put like how many hours on it?
Yeah, I think I sold it with like about 45, 46 hours on it.
Yeah, and that's over
That's good.
a 2-year period.
Yeah, we bombed it with all the accessories, like as you do, everything but a turbo.
Yep.
Because they're NA. But,
Yeah, but to buy that same ski, it's nearly identical, and it's like another $5 grand dearer.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
Like,
prices have gone mental.
Fucking crazy.
I actually, a good friend of mine, Alistair, he's, I should get him on here because he's a good dude. He's got a Turbo S, a new one. And I actually sold him my Spark with a Superior dock for 4.5 grand. Superior docks are nearly 4.5 grand.
Yeah.
And, back then that was like, I think I paid $1,500 or $1,800 for this Spark. It wasn't a trick. It was just a base one, right?
Yep.
But, it still did 80-something Ks an hour. It was still a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, there's no way you'd be buying, like, I'd buy 5 now if I could find them.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
100%. Yeah.
So it's funny how things have changed. And, we've seen it with everything, even with business, being in the role that I was in and now am still in, we're dealing with a lot of, big players with large businesses at director level. And, you speak to them about business and where the world's headed and where we are right now. And, the good news for me is that I can genuinely say that the doom and gloom's behind us now.
Yeah.
And I'm actually like, don't even focus on the negative. I think there's a lot of stuff we should be excited about moving forward. And I think it's really important that, when we do business and when my team is out there doing business, is that we're talking about the positive changes that we can make to their business and how it can help them, rather than focusing on all that doom and gloom and a lot of the issues that we've currently got with, with things like that. You know,
Yeah.
if someone wanted a toy these days, let's just say there's a guy out there that wants to buy a car, you know, they're probably paying twice the amount that you could pay 2 years ago because not only has the car gone up, but you've also got all the interest rates and things that, you know, a lot of people end up putting a bit of cash in and putting, you know, some on a business lease. God, you know, it's just crazy times.
Yeah. It's actually, it works out better to buy a brand new car now if you're in business. Like the second-hand market's just ridiculous.
Yeah, it's nuts.
Yeah.
As long as you don't have to wait 5 years for it, right?
That's the kicker,
yeah.
Yeah.
So tell us about like that, going through that journey of like, well, I mean, it wasn't a long journey. You bought your first supercar at 21. That's pretty crazy.
Pretty
That's
impressive.
Yeah, it was something that I'd always dreamt of.
Yeah,
And,
but like, so you would have probably started working when you were like 16 or something.
Yeah, I started at about 16. And yeah, I guess there was always something else happening. It wasn't always just one thing.
Just
I was
a job
trying to make money as so many different ways as you know, and as much as I can. And I guess where did the money come from to get into the higher end vehicles? Probably was property.
Yeah, nice.
Property's been a massive part of my life and my wife and mine success that we've had, and sort of where we've got to today. You know, BBC Digital has been an amazing asset. It's probably been the cash cow that's allowed me to do the property journey that we've been on. And it's, you know, it started 9 years ago. I bought my first. Sorry, it started 10 years ago because I bought a block of land in Hope Island. It was 120 grand. It was the Viewline Terrace.
Behind the marina, behind the shopping centre there.
Yeah. And it was off Collier's, and I had to put 26 grand down or something, and it was money I didn't have, but I was able to sell something, and I ended up getting the money together for the deposit. The downside about that was that it hadn't been registered with council, so there was no, you know, titles that were issued. So there was just this contract that we had that we knew. I think it was lot 504 or something. It was ours.
Yeah, like an option to purchase or something.
So like we'd purchased it. It was ours. So we were just waiting for council for the rest of the plumbing and the electrical to go in, and then they were going to give title and then transfer, and great, we can start building a house. Went and did all these plans, got it all done, and my wife and I she wasn't my wife at that time actually, but we were really excited about what we were going to do there. And then probably 6 months later, I started to see what was happening in that area, and I was really concerned about what I'd bought. I got in a marina berth with it, but I wasn't on the water. And I've always had a bit of a passion for water since meeting my wife, because her parents are very big about being on the broadwater.
Yeah.
And always boating and things. And so we sort of decided we'd sell it, and we made 70 grand on that. That was a pretty good buy, considering that I was able to sell it prior to actually settling on it. And how we did that was we got a contract together that the lawyer drew up, that when the title came, that the ownership would go directly to them and not to us. And so we didn't have to pay, you know, stamps and all that jazz.
Yeah, wow, that's
awesome.
So essentially we were able to sell our contract for the block of land. It was good, it was creative, and we were able to make the money. And then I'd actually found a house, really nice old guy who's passed now. His name's Graham, and he owned the property at 28 Pebble Beach Drive, which is on Runaway Bay Islands. And we purchased that place off him. We couldn't afford it. It was 910,000 or something. I was like, man, for my first house, like back then,
it's a lot of money.
That was a lot of money.
Yeah,
right? That, you know, that's probably like 2.5 mil now.
Yeah.
And so we like put all the obviously got the deposit back, and I got that extra 70 grand profit, and then I was able to, because it was just on 10%, I was able to sort of get it across the line, and, you know, the accountant had helped me out with making it so that my wife and I and our joint incomes were able to approve it. And we were touch and go. We nearly lost the property because we couldn't. The one bank said no, the other one said yes, and then Graham said, "Oh, I'll vendor finance this for you. Like, let me give you the extra money. We're about 100K short." Anyway, the bank ended up doing it, which was amazing. And we moved in, And I started to find out what this Renault life was about. And fuck me, did it take over my life.
Yeah.
Oh man,
11
it's
houses
fucking
later.
bananas, eh?
Yeah, I mean, so we ended up doing this great Renault. We took it to auction. We sold it for 1.365. So we had an absolute cracking result.
Mm.
And from the money we'd put in and everything, we had about 400 grand there. And we thought, what are we going to do now? And this bloke fucking thought it was a good idea to go to Sovereign Islands. So I bought my first house on Sovereign. Second home, 1.6 mil, 400 down, massive mortgage. I'm talking a fuck you mortgage. It was $7,200 a month. And back then, again, it's probably like 15K. So
that's a fucking big mortgage.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm like,
how are you not grey? Like,
well, I've got some in my beard and I've got some here, but yeah, I've been getting a bit of shit about that lately. Actually.
oh mate,
not as much as you, but
I'm super salty
turning
now.
it right up. So yeah, Sovereign it was, and we spent $5,000 on a deck out the back on the water. I had a nice Riviera at the back at that time. That was when I had the Lambo.
Yep.
I had my first V-Rod then. I had all my toys, and I was like, fucking life is good. But it's really stressful, you know, because I've got to pay this. I've got to make this money every month to pay these.
Yeah.
This
What year was that? Is this before the GFC?
Well, our house was 6 Hampton Court, and yeah, it wasn't before GFC. So go back maybe 9 years ago.
Gotcha.
8 years ago. Yeah, and so, you know, a doctor had it. I think he'd passed away and his wife was selling it. Indian family and nice, you know, lovely people, and they sold it to us, in my opinion, very cheap. It was an opportunity that was presented to me from a real estate agent that wasn't on the market. It was like, you know, let's make it happen. And so we did, and we sold it for $2 million. Yeah.
Wow.
Alex Phillips was working for Ray White at that time, and we sold it for $2 million. And we sold it for $2 million just after the 12-month mark. So
yeah. What? So it just got too much, and you're like, I'm going to back out of this. And
man,
just
to be
take the
honest, it
profit?
was either like the market was still moving, right? It was still moving in the right direction. And we had the toys, and everything was good, but I was just stressed. Like, it was a lot of money. It's just a lot of money to come up with at the age that I was.
Yeah.
And where I was in my life, you know, I just thought, fuck, I don't want to be a prisoner to the bank. I had all the toys, and that was cool, but you're stressed out all the time.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I didn't want to sacrifice them, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to cash in, make the money.
PPR, tax free.
Got the 400, and you know, a bit extra, and I was like, you know, I've nearly got $1 million in the bank. What am I going to do now? And Pebble Beach Drive, I think that's where we went after that. Yeah, we did. Pebble Beach Drive, back on Pebble Beach. So we bought 155. I bought it for 1.2 mil, and I sold it for just under 2 mil. And I spent a bit of money on it. Put a pool in, big al fresco. That house is pretty wild. We got this amazing staircase, comes up and splits in the middle of the house as you walk in, and you know, big like 900 by 900 tiles. We made it quite special, big waterfront. Had to sell a boat through that one just to free up some cash. Boats and bikes and skis, and I'm just a big believer that you need, if you're going to own that stuff, you really need to be owning that, so that if you have a rainy day, you've got that quick cash flow to bring it back in to help you get through.
Yep.
And we ended up doing a lot of that, sold that one. We then went to a place called Karima Crescent, and that was on Runaway Bay again. That wasn't so good. We only made 200 grand or something out of that, and that was probably, or maybe 250. But it was by far the worst one we've done. But after that, we were almost like mortgage free because we'd had so many good runs. And I ended up going down to a place called Drysdale, 26 Drysdale Place at Paradise Point. And Alex Phillips had actually gone out on his own, and there was a guy called Shannon Smith. Shannon Smith is a legend. He owns his own real estate agency now called Shannon Smith & Co. at Paradise Point. And he helped me out, and he got me this cracking deal, like this block, like bridge free, huge waterfront, northwest facing, just cracker, single level, all like high ceilings, and it was like proper hardwood, like none of this shit they build today, right? And I was like, I'm going to make this thing mad. And it's probably my favourite house to live in that's not the one I'm in now. We sold that, for just over 2 mil, and probably owed us low ones. So
wow.
that was like the the fuck yeah, let's go kind of
Yeah,
thing. Like
yeah,
we
yeah.
were really like this.
Now
is
you got
cranking,
1.6,
right?
1.7 or something.
We were feeling great, and from there, where'd we go after that? Well, we went back to Sundance. So we went back to Runaway Bay Islands on Sundance, number 150, and James Drake. I don't know if you know James Drake.
I
from
do
Ray
know
White.
the name. Yep.
Really good young kid. Known him for I don't know, since he was probably 10 or 12. He's in real estate for Ray White again. You've got to have all these connections. It seems to really help you when you need to know what to do. And he's helped me a lot because he helped me get out of that property. That was probably clearing 700-800 again. It was a fantastic buy and sell. He worked really hard and got a great result. And we went over to Sovereign. We bought 26 the Sovereign Mile, sold that. Bought 59 the Sovereign Mile, sold that. And then we're actually a little bit stuck going, where are we going to go next? Like, we love being in the 4216. Like, I absolutely love this end of the coast, the people, the Broadwater. Throughout that time, we'd bought and sold boats, and we'd been doing things to make side incomes to assist in all of these renovations and things we were doing. And I'd always wanted to, like, when Nat and I first met, my wife, I'd lived on Ephraim Island for about 4 years. And her and I had always really enjoyed that time we had together when we first met there. And I thought, God, it'd be nice to have one of these, like the big villas and houses that are all on the end of the promontory. There's some fantastic spots there. They're all their own concrete construction and basements. And like I've built a nice man cave down there, and one came up, but we bought it off market because they don't really come to market much. And Nat and I are there now. And
so
we're
going back home.
Yeah, we love it, mate. We're not going. So the property journey and all the things we've done and the renovations, I mean, I managed it all myself, all the trades and the design and everything.
Yeah.
We didn't outsource any of that. So Nat and I finally we've finished where we are now at Ephraim, and we finished a fantastic renovation there. And we've now got a 2-year-old.
And
so
you did it like that.
We did it quick. Yeah, it's one thing we do.
I've been following the journey, mate. It was impressive.
Yeah, I turned an amazing powder room. It's pretty impressive. I'm actually really proud of it, and it did it in 2 weeks.
Wow,
that was nuts.
Nice.
And it's a black and LED lights through battens, and it's really cool. Actually.
We're just waiting for the invite for the whiskey night now.
Yeah.
Oh, I wouldn't mind a whiskey night. Bit of
You'll have to come
30.
around here. We have a few around here every now and then.
Yeah, nice. I'll be keen.
Play a bit of poker.
I'm always keen for that.
Yeah.
Mr. Higgs might take that R8 off you, though, if you're not careful.
Oh, we get that deep, do we?
Yeah. No, definitely not. I've got to just do a change out for Pete in a couple of minutes, but I just wanted to ask you, like, for the audience, like, there's so many people who are kind of aspirational to some of the things that, you've achieved, like pretty high status in real estate, pretty high status in cars and toys and those types of things. And, you seem like you've got your life like really well sorted out. But, for people that are sort of still on the up ramp, like what sort of advice would you give people in terms of just being able to keep driving forward and taking one step after the other?
I think there's a few things. I mean, for me, it's activity and attitude.
Yeah.
There's certain things that you can only control. And I think, I say this to my sales team all the time. It's a lot about your mindset. It's about where do you come from when you have something that would probably derail that mindset. If you've got a positive mindset, you've got high activity and a good attitude, you're going to be successful. But you've also got to have purpose. You've got to have a goal. And I think biggest thing for me is that if you've got a goal, and it doesn't always have to be realistic, but if you can get close to it or achieve it, you're going to be the best version of yourself. I mean, for me, I had a lot of people tell me, there's no way you're going to be able to do that, man. That's crazy.
Yeah.
But I just keep a positive mindset, mate, and I'm busy. I'm always active. I'm working. I've got a sales team now at the moment of 7 fantastic individuals. My job's to motivate them. 4 of them are very green, sort of what I would classify as green. But, I just tell them, work hard, activity, attitude, positive mindset. Don't let people derail that. Stay focused to what your goal is. Yeah. And you're going to make it, And if you're not and you're finding that you're struggling, you've got to lean on the people around you and ask for that help. Because if people aren't asking you for help, I'll help anyone if they're going to come and ask me for help. I mean, I can't run around offering it to 50 million people. But if you've got someone that comes to you and says, I need help, and I'll sit down with anyone and explain how I got where I got, and
Yeah.
try and help them get to where they want to be.
It's been a common denominator too with our guests, like the mindset being like a really key part. Like if you wake up at the start of the day and, you know, you're not thinking positive thoughts, your whole day just turns to shit.
Done.
You know, if you're not going into work excited about what you got in front of you, you know, you need to change something.
100%.
Whether it's, you know, your routine or get to bed early, get a better sleep, or, you know, figure it out. But I think positive mindset goes such a long way.
Yeah, my routine for me in the mornings is I'm up early because I've got a 2-year-old that gets me up, right?
Yeah.
But I actually now have learnt that I've got to get up before she gets up. So that's what I mean. Like, that could have derailed me
Yeah.
by having a 2-year-old that gets you up. And then if you're having to get up because she's up, you're not getting to do what you need to do in the morning.
Yeah.
So
Exercise,
stay focused.
breakfast.
Yeah, stay focused
meditation.
and go, well, if I'm going to get what I need to get done, get up earlier.
Yeah.
So I beat her to getting up now.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
That's
I'm
tough.
out doing my stuff because I
Yeah.
have to.
Yeah.
I mean, last night I had a terrible sleep. I was meant to do PT this morning. I missed it. I was rolling around like I had insomnia. I didn't know what was going on.
Yeah.
Yep.
Probably thinking about this fucking podcast. now.
Yeah. What am I going to say?
But no, look, to be honest, mate, I just think it's about having that positive mindset. It's huge.
Yeah. So activity, attitude, and
A
mindset.
positive mindset.
Yeah, sick, man. No, it's good advice. We might get Pete down here as well if he's upstairs and ready to jump in the hot seat. I've just got a meeting that I've got to take. So
Yeah, you bounce. He's on his way over in a minute. So
oh yeah, sweet. No,
you
cool.
go do your thing.
Too easy. Yeah. Well, for anyone watching, Pete Moriarty's going to jump on in the hot seat here and finish off the interview. I've just got a meeting to take, but I'll see you on the next episode. It was nice to meet you.
Thank you,
James.
mate.
I'll
Yeah,
catch you after
appreciate
anyway. This thing will only go for half an hour, but
100%. Thank you.
We'll take the car for a drive after.
Hey, you can, mate. And I'm not sitting in it.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
James is like, I don't know how many more points I've got left actually. So
Yeah.
I actually, I just got a fine recently. I got it in the mail yesterday. I was in the Tesla, and I was on my phone.
oh
God,
no.
yeah. Fuck,
Yeah,
that's a big one.
5,390.
Oh,
Through the company.
company one.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Oh,
yeah.
mate, I don't have the points to lose. let me tell
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
You pay that one every day.
Yeah, 100%.
Ouch.
Yeah.
All
Yeah,
the technology in that car too, and you still got done on the phone.
I know. I could have like blacked the glass out or something and made it so we couldn't see him.
Well, I can tell you right now that doesn't help either. You can still get it done through the tint. So
Yeah, no, they're pretty good.
They know what's going on these days.
Yeah. I kind of want to touch on like the boating side of things. Like you've
Yes.
mentioned you've had a bunch of boats, but haven't really got into it. Like your day boat and stuff. Like what are you in at the moment?
Couple of things I'm in at the moment. My passion, I'll tell you about my passion. It's actually a pretty good story why I even got into boating. I mean, I was this pommy kid who really shouldn't love boating and sunshine and swimming in the salt water because it's not really what you do there when you're a kid. Well, certainly not in London where I was from.
Yeah.
But when I met my wife, her family was so much into boating. They had this 34-foot Mustang. And back then, we're going 15 years ago, right? It was like a cracking boat. They actually bought it off the owner of George's Paragon, off George, the old fella at Century Cove.
We went to school with his son, Yanni,
Yanni.
Tassis.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, so they bought the boat. They bought the boat off him.
Yep.
And, she'd say, we're going to go out in the boat. She was used to doing it, but I had no idea what it was about. Here we are sitting on this boat, like I'm in the Broadwater, we're on anchor, and I was like, I actually really enjoy this. Drinking, eating, having a good time. And I thought, how can I be confident enough to buy a boat and actually have a good day and not stress? Well, the solution was buy the same boat. So that's what we did. We actually bought a 34-foot wide body Mustang too.
Wow.
Yep.
So that, my wife knew where all the buttons were, and when I was going out with them, I was sort of getting the option to drive now and again. So it was just made it familiar.
Yep.
Good idea.
And yeah, mate, we just went from that to a Riv M370. Looks like a 40-foot Riv with like a couple of bedrooms and air conditioning and a gen set, and just a really nice boat to have for the Gold Coast. And we had that actually at our first house at 28 Pebble Beach. It was really good. And then we sort of moved from that boat to an M430, which to most people is kind of like a cigarette boat on steroids.
Yep.
It's the one with the really long nose.
Yep.
And everyone loves the M430. It's
They look unreal. Eh?
yeah, it's definitely one of the best looking rivs, especially for that time frame. from that kind of 2001 through to, I think it must be 05, 06 maybe. I think there was 170 of them made. Anyway, I absolutely loved mine. And I ended up owning 4 of the M430s, just buying and selling them. Like I said, kind of like having, never having a loan on it and cashing it in when I needed it and making the money, and then I'd buy another one when I could. And between that, often like I'd get a Sea Ray. I've had a Sea Ray SLX 270, just like a really nice day boat, like a bow rider. I actually probably sold the day boat that I love the most, which is an all black 4 winds that gets around the coast with Murdering on it. Yeah, right. Adam Gibbsy. Yeah. So I sold it to him. I've known him for years. He's a legend. And so now I'm currently in. Then I had a Sunseeker. That was probably my favourite boat. It was a 53-foot Sunseeker. I drove it to Hamilton Island with 3 of my mates.
Nice.
That's cool.
Yeah.
How long did that take? Fucking loose.
It was a long way though, isn't it?
Fucking loose. Like, seriously. Being out there, like, obviously I'd never driven a boat really outside in the ocean.
Yeah.
And a good friend, Justin Thorpe, or Spence as people know him from Maritimo, he was organising a day, and he sort of got together a lot of Maritimo guys and a few of the other people that had, other boats that they were looking at Maritimos, or people that had bought from him from the second-hand boat line. And he actually helped me with buying the boat. And, we ended up just heading up north one day. And as we were leaving the Seaway, one of the injectors just cooked it. Oh. And I'm watching all these boats leave for the first stop, which is at Mooloolaba. And I'm like, fuck, man, this is it. And like we were having a pretty big morning because we were excited.
Yeah.
And here we are, stranded.
Bobbing out in the ocean.
Bobbing out. Just before you get out to the ocean, we turned it around. Everyone's on the radios. What the fuck's going on, dude? And I said, we're in trouble. We've got no power on one side.
Yeah.
We ain't going to make it. And this bloke, really good guy, Robbie, comes down from Aquarius Marine Group. He came down to the boat. He got his mate. They purged the injectors and they cleared the injector. They couldn't believe it. Even they were like, man, it's probably not right. I don't know if you should do this trip, but if you want to, like, I was 3 or 4 hours behind. I pulled into Mooloolaba at 7 p.m. at night, and the rest of the crew were all still on their boats. Some of them had gone up for dinner, and we're like, we fucking made it. And we did like 30 knots almost the whole way there.
Jesus.
I don't know how many thousands it cost me in fuel.
I was going to say wide open throttle.
Yeah. It was wild, and it was fun. Like, we went from there. We went up, where did we go first? We ended up in Fraser. We crossed Wide Bay Bar. Before that, we went into this other little inlet for the night. It was incredible. Then we did Kingfisher Bay for the night, Harvey Bay. We stopped at Mackay. Actually, we went out to Lady Musgrave too.
Oh, nice.
Lady Musgrave. Yeah. For the people that are listening to this, if you haven't been to Lady Musgrave, get on your phone right now and Google it.
Yeah.
It is all time.
About this big.
Right. Yeah, man. It's just incredible, that place. And the coral and the sea life and everything, and it's on the way. Then we had a really bad storm come. We stuck into, I think it was Gladstone area. And then we went up to Mackay, fueled up at Mackay, and we're at Hamo. And I think it was on day 5, me and my 3 mates, Trent, Benny and Alistair, we pulled up to Hamilton Island. You're not meant to go in and out of that port at night. Like, it's not allowed. We rolled in at 9 p.m. I reversed it, slotted this, it's a big boat, slotted it between another boat and the mooring we were in. And we went up to the Italian restaurant, Romana's maybe, and just had the best seafood pastas. And we've never felt so happy that we achieved such a trip. I mean,
that's epic.
It is awesome to be able to say you've driven your own boat.
Yeah.
The whole way from Gold Coast to Hamilton Island with 3 mates.
That's so fun.
The whales we saw, like, just the experience. And coming home, we nearly died, but we left it up there for 3.5, 4 months.
Yep.
We were flying up and down.
Yeah, nice.
Wife and baby. I think my baby went to Misha under the age of 1, had been to Whitehaven Beach like 8 times.
Oh. Wow.
It was madness. And then some weekends we'd be able to leave Misha at home, and so we'd fly friends up, and we had friends stay on the boat with us, and we went out to Chance Bay and Butterfly Bay. I mean, we really had, I reckon, some of the best times of our life boating.
Yeah. Yeah, that's incredible.
And that Sunseeker, it was called Mack Life. It was funny because I liked it so much that I bought it back.
Really?
Yeah, and it's currently for sale.
Mm-hmm.
I've actually thought about buying it back a third time.
I think I've just seen it down behind Versace.
That's where it lives now.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a real estate agent in Brisbane who owns it. And, I'd love to buy it back, man. I just love that boat. I've got such a connection with it.
Yeah.
And it's, personally for me, I just think it looks beautiful on the water. But currently now we've got a Sunseeker 72. It's about 78 foot long. It's all black. It's got orange Lamborghini seats. It's a wild.
I think I've seen that. We saw that on Aussie Day last year. Like, was it this year? Last year.
We were out on it.
Yeah.
We were out on it. Yeah. This year, Australia Day.
Yeah, I think we're out there. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've actually seen it parked up behind on
at
Baby
the in-laws.
Street there.
Yeah, that's the in-laws.
So that's
joint.
the in-laws place, is it? Gotcha.
Yeah, so we had it at Ephraim, but mate, the amount of times that you find people like coming really close to it, and I've got cameras obviously set up. We've had people come on the back of it.
Really?
Because at Ephraim, you're not on a private mooring as such, right? You're in a marina, so people can sort of just jump onto the pontoon and then like have a look around. And I'm sure that it's not, people aren't trying to vandalise or they're just curious. It's a very big boat for the Gold Coast water.
Yep.
It's also all black,
And
so
it's
it's sort of
completely different.
Yeah, it stands out. It's a bit of a wow thing. So, I'm sure that there's no like bad harm in what they're doing, but you just
Bit of respect.
stress.
yeah,
You're stressed.
and also people go past it quite quickly, so it's always moving around on its mooring.
Yeah.
And it just makes sense that the in-laws, they've got a beautiful spot for it.
Yeah.
It fits kind of like it hangs out
Well,
about
you can
3
see
meters
you
into
can see
the
it from the
neighbour.
street. So
Yeah. And it's a really nice, safe canal there. Yeah. There's not a lot of water movement, and it's bridge free, so you can just come and go when you like.
Yeah.
But you need the depth for the tide. Sometimes that's an issue. But so that's a boat, and then the other boat recently that I bought, Gibbsy's. I love that Four Winds SL fun ship so much. I found one. It was advertised in Melbourne. And I asked the guy what was going on, and he said he had it in Port Douglas in storage for like 7 years, and he brought it down to Melbourne on a trailer to sell it. And I ended up giving him a deal, and he agreed, and now I've got that. So that actually goes in the water today. Be going in the water pretty much in half an hour.
Sweet. Well, we'll wrap up, eh?
Yeah. And then it's going round. It's going round to home, to the berth at home at Ephraim, and
so that'll be this weekend's.
That'll be this.
project.
Yeah. So
Very
it's
cool.
getting detailed. I think 2:00 the guy rocks up. So tomorrow I'll be out and
Perfect.
about. That's
good's
my
that?
weekend plan. But mate, boating's a big part of my life.
Yeah.
2 boats is enough. Plus, a couple of jet skis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, boating, we don't get out enough. We're actually, me and my partner are looking at buying a boat at the moment. We're at the boat show a few weeks ago and looking at the Axopar.
Have you seen them? The Brabus edition boats?
No.
Yeah,
Oh,
I'll
man.
show you a
No, I
photo.
haven't. Yeah.
It's a,
I don't know. Maybe if Jai's listening, he can get it up on the screen there. The baby blue one.
Yeah.
Jai.
it's,
Brabus.
yeah.
Brabus do a boat.
Yeah.
Actually, Brabus.
Oh,
Yeah.
fucking hell. That's mad.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
So, like carbon, everything, like nuts boat.
Where are they made?
I'm not sure. So it's an Axopar that Brabus then take to their factory and do their thing, like
Right.
they do with the Mercedes.
Yeah. So is that like a designed to be like a very large day boat?
Yeah.
Much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the full
Sick.
cab version where both doors open, full sunroof, carbon dash, like beautiful thing.
Wow.
It's got a bed, toilet, little
shower thing.
a wet bar on the back, like really cool day boat.
Fuck yeah. How much is one of them?
That one's $1 million.
That's
Okay.
yeah.
That's not unreasonable
No.
for what you're saying.
Yeah, yeah. It's the type of boat you can drive to Hamo and get there confidently.
Yeah, right.
Which it'd be my first boat. I've always had jet skis, so I'm like,
Yeah.
well, I want something that's. I've got 2 kids, so I want to make sure we get there.
Yeah.
I think I'll fly.
Look,
Yeah.
I mean,
I'll
to be
there.
Here he
fair,
is.
man, you'll love it.
Yeah,
You'll
yeah.
love it. The boating life is just so cool.
Yeah. We spend a lot of our friends have got boats, and they're some of the best boats, like your friends' boats where you get on and get off.
Of course they are.
Yeah.
I'm just yet to find the mate with the boat that I can just always
Yeah.
be on their boat. But
Yeah.
yeah,
You'll have to get Paulie to get into them.
There we go.
yeah,
There's a
wow.
close up. So that's the full cab. and they do a open deck one. We've actually got a mate of ours got the
Don't show James this because it's a very similar colour combo to what he's already got. So he's going to be shopping this afternoon. I can show.
They'll probably make a nice tender on the back of your big boat.
Yeah, look, it would be a very, very, very good tender. They actually look quite large too.
They are, yeah. It's like I think 47, something like that, 47 foot. So
it's a little big for a
little
tender.
bit big. Yeah,
Yeah, that's it.
Anyway, welcome, Pete.
Thanks for having me, guys. Yeah.
Welcome back, first of all, because the last few potties we've had, you've been on the other side of the planet.
I know, just doing the remote work thing, you know.
Yeah, how good's that?
Yeah, it's been great. I'm glad we got the technology working and, you know, good internet connection and a camera and everying works, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
Before we get into it, I'm going to go grab a beer. Anyone else want one?
Yeah, I'll be down.
Sure.
What do we want? We got,
Whatever's going, mate.
actually, Ollie, could you grab a couple for us?
Hazies. Couple of hazies.
A couple of hazies at the top. That do the job.
Yeah, mate. I'm
Malters.
easy.
Pete, do you want anything?
Oh, is it
I'd love a
is it?
bottle of water for me.
Have you got
Good.
Great Northern there?
We've got Great Northern, yeah.
Yeah, I'll be down for one of them.
We got everything. I was hoping to make a grand entrance on the scooter, and then I saw the R8 only had about a foot of space between the pot plant back there.
Yeah,
Very
good call.
cautious.
Didn't think that'd be a good idea.
No.
But I was actually presenting a webinar over in one of the other rooms, and I had the podcast up on my iPad. So I've been listening in. I just had the captions switched on.
Oh, cool.
So I was reading along. I've caught most of it.
Nice.
But
How good's that?
Yeah, I'm doing my best. It's multitasking, right?
I think the water boy wants to know what one you want.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
Cheers,
Cheers,
legend.
Ollie.
Thank
so
you.
Ollie's on camera at the moment, so he's
Thank
the
you,
man
Ollie.
behind the cameras. He's making sure all of the cameras are on point, and we've got Rob upstairs. You want to chuck your camera on, Rob, so we can say good day? And Jai's are kicking around somewhere too. He's around. We'll get you later on in the podcast.
They're going to remain faceless upstairs.
Go for it, Pete.
I've got one question because the discussion's been really enjoyable so far, and I think you're one of the rare entrepreneurs who's got the business running well, bought all the toys, and then had that moment, or I presume you've had that moment of going, oh, okay, well everything's really great in life. What's next? You know, like how do you find meaning? You know, like what do you do once you've kind of like ticked all the boxes? And so I'm curious about that. You know, where do you find your motivation? Where do you find your inspiration to do life, to do business now that you've ticked all those boxes?
Yeah, that's a really good question actually, and it's something that I did face, and it was a challenge, but I've overcome it because I think there was two things that happened to me, or two things that helped me with that. One was the family that I've created, my daughter, the purpose that she's provided me for my life and what I want to be, and you know who I feel I should be for her and for my wife to show up for them. So that really that was one thing. You know, she gave me a lot of purpose, a lot of drive to build something, to leave something for her, for my legacy. And the other thing is when I moved into the new role, I was very much at that state where, you know, we were earning a lot of money and I was in a sales role, and it was about me, because that's really what a sales role is when you're doing that. It's about yourself, and, you know, you only have yourself to worry about. But now being a general manager and managing a large number of staff across all our departments at head office for BBC, I've now got another whole purpose, as well as at work and at home. And for work, for me, it's that sales team that I was talking about, those 7 people that I'm working with every day, and, you know, also our assistant, being involved with their lives and watching them and helping them. You know, like I didn't get to where I was today without help. And so, you know, people need to realise that when you do get to a place where you feel like you've made the success that you want and you're stable, is that you need to be able to give back to people, and you need to be able to sort of help people with what they want to achieve in life. And, you know, there's a guy by the name of Mark Clough. He's an absolute fucking legend, a legend to me, but a legend in the industry. And he spent a lot of time helping me and like mentoring and developing my ability to do my job well. And so what I now get kicks out of is not about the money. You know, you can go and make $100,000 on a deal and it doesn't mean much anymore. But what it does mean for me is watching my team grow, watching those people succeed, seeing their life change for the positive, and being a part of that. That really gave me a lot of purpose.
Yeah.
Because it sort of came off me, and I'm now looking after my team, which are my family. And it goes without saying, I think it's pretty easy to know that what a daughter or a son or a wife, what that family means. For me, it means a lot. So, that really, having a child reset that and was allowing me to, I guess, hit that next level, go those new boundaries. And I'm forever goal setting. I'm never stagnant.
Yeah.
So,
and there'd be crossover in, managing a family, raising kids, and then leading and looking after staff as well. I've seen that a lot, particularly for business owners I know who have kids. But I don't think many entrepreneurs, and I'm thinking of aspiring entrepreneurs, I don't think many people think about what they'll do once they've ticked all the boxes. I don't think that's even conscious. And you've heard of like the people who win lotto, or they sell their business and they have the big payout, and then it's like, oh shit, what am I going to do now? And they have that moment and that kind of like the period of depression, or however they process that. So it sounds like you're still striving for more. So you've had like more goals to look after, but also it seems like you've transitioned more into that kind of like the giving back era, I call it, which is like, all right, now you get to mentor people, now you get to bring other people up. It's less about the money. It's more just about doing what you love, doing what you're good at.
The experiences.
And I'd say the experiences as well.
Which we've spoken a lot about with other guests as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like, we're not here for that long, right?
Yeah.
Really, when you think about it. That time that we're on the earth. So it really is about the experiences that you create and the memories that you make that really make your life, no matter what it is, whether it's about money and success or family and love, or can be something completely different. It's really about, for me, those experiences that you make and the memories that you take to the grave. And I mean, I do want to leave something. I want to leave something for my family. We didn't always have everything. We didn't come from a really poor place either, but to be able to build, like I've recently paid out my mother's mortgage. That really gave me a sense of feeling. We've got a farm now that's for the family.
Nice. Yeah, that's awesome.
So I can take my daughter out there and we can spend time on a farm with animals and space, and it's out the back of Canunga, and it is absolutely stunning. It's beautiful, and
perfect.
Doing things like that.
Probably shitty phone service, right?
It's great. It's great. And like hopefully she'll grow as she grows, and we have more kids, and all the friends we can go and horse ride and bike ride, and we can just do the things that families do. And
absolutely.
I think I'm not going to stop. I'm going to keep going because so far the journey's been good. It's definitely had its issues. I've had a lot of things that have tried to take me and derail me from where I want to be. But it's like what I was saying earlier. It's just about staying mindset right and staying on course.
Have you had any mental health not issues, but like have you had any struggles with that throughout the process? Because there's sometimes where you get kicked in the guts, whether it be you lose a big deal that you've been working on for a while, or whatever it is. There's times where like you're not always mentally there.
I don't think so. I mean, I've probably had more mental distractions from family stuff more so than business related. Business has always been, it's not easy, it's hard, but business has always been quite smooth sailing because I don't let things derail me from it because of the way that I live my life. Like I think it's 9 out of the last 10 years, or maybe 10 out of the last 11 years, I've been the highest performing salesman nationally for the company. So it would be wrong for me to say that I've had lots of issues with the business because I've focused so hard on being successful and achieved those goals. Of course, you're going to get the odd deal here and there. I mean, I recently had one with a very large company that I was trying to get from a competitor, and I thought it was there. I was even indicated that the deal was going to go ahead, and they ended up staying with the incumbent they were with. And obviously, I was upset for about 5 minutes because life's too short for that shit, right? You just got to get up and move on and focus on what's next because there are other people that I know that are in the industry and that we just would have mentally fucked them. And my mind is strong. The mindset's really important.
Absolutely.
I love the premise that most people when they see a supercar they think, oh, this person must be in property or must be in business, and that's where most people are. You've obviously taken more of we could call it an entrepreneurship route, being in the business. I'm curious for someone who's maybe, growing their career and they're aspiring to reach their financial goals. Is it I don't know, maybe you've got a sales tip on how you become the top sales performer, or what's your biggest tips on influence?
Yeah.
Like what do you got for those who are aspiring?
Takes people out for lots of dinners.
Yeah. Find the richest bloke in the room and butter him up.
Yeah.
No, look, I mean, I was saying it earlier before you came on. Really, it's just about the activity, the attitude, the mindset. It's about feeling like you've got purpose and setting a goal, just not letting people derail you. I've got, as I mentioned earlier, a young sort of green sales team. I've got some quite experienced guys in there, but I've also got some people that certainly need the assistance. And it's just about, keeping them motivated, keeping them on track, focused, and just making sure their mindset's right. And if you're starting the day poorly, working out how you can reset that morning routine so that you're on point from when you get up. Because, there are people out there that get up at 3 a.m. and they say that they get the extra 3 hours that everyone else gets. But, I don't fucking really agree with it because, yes, they're awake for, say, 12 and you're awake for 9. But if I'm more effective in my 9 than you are your 12, who gives a fuck however you
That's
get
right.
up?
Yeah, exactly.
That's right. Yeah.
Stick it.
Yeah.
But,
Head down.
I mean, I've learnt to get up earlier because I've now got to give my time to my daughter and my wife to, obviously help the family. And so I did make a time for me to get up earlier so I could do those things I was going to do. But it doesn't mean I'm going to get up at 3 o'clock or anything crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just up at 4:45, 5 o'clock every morning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so you're now mentoring the up and coming guys in the business, or guys and girls. What mentors?
I do
did
actually
you
have a girl in my team. Yeah.
Excellent. What mentors did you have as you were on your journey?
I had one standout mentor, Mark Clough, who I talked about. He really pushed me and made me like the best version of who I could be in the role that I was in. And that's regards to business. In regards to family, my mentor, the man that I've always said who I'd love to be, I'd love my kids to look at me the way his kids look at him, is my uncle. Yeah, I've got Rob Morse is his name. Oxygen Home Loans. I'll give him a little plug.
Yeah.
He's a fantastic finance broker, but he's just also a really genuine legend of a bloke. He really he gives people time. His kids love him. They're sort of getting older now. One's finished school and the other two are, probably 3 and 5 years away from finishing, but they still come up to him and say, I love you. They give him a hug. They kiss their dad. He's just a really good example of a great man. So he's mentored me from that side of life, and from business, definitely Mark Clough.
Isn't it interesting, seeing different people and picking and choosing little bits to take from different people's lives? I think that's pretty important. When you look to someone who aspire to be or aspire to be like, and you want to model them, not necessarily modeling like every single thing, but kind of going like, oh yeah, I like this bit from this person and that bit from that person.
Yeah.
And kind of trying to bring that together, right?
Yeah. Everyone's so different. What works for you may not work for me.
Yeah.
But it's the principles, you know.
Yeah, if you got the same values, I think values are very important to the way we all live our life.
Yeah.
I mean, I got mates that don't drink, that you would probably classify as quite boring. But, deep down the person that they are, they've got great values. They love their family. They love, they're a lover. They're a giver. They're always someone that's there for you when you need them. Then I've got guys that are absolutely fucking lunatics, and they've also got all the same values. And it's, you can be so different, but you can still have the same core value as a human and what's good and what's not. So.
Yeah.
I like that you mentioned, how you would like your kids to see you. I was watching on YouTube a video of an interview with billionaires, and one of the billionaires on the videos, they were asking about, how do you feel successful? And now you've achieved all these things. What's life like? And and what do you think a successful life looks like? Like, how do you define that? And his answer was, if my kids want to hang out with me and spend time with me, I think I've done well.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Fucking nice.
And I thought that was
100
on point.
Yeah.
On point.
It's funny you say that, because my wife, her parents are absolutely amazing. Like, it's wild how amazing they are. And my wife would invite all of her friends over, and they would all come, and they'd all hang out with Max and Lynn. And they'd have the maddest nights. And it's because there was that open communication, that trust, and it was like they were friends. Like, it got to a certain age, and it was like, we enjoy and want to hang out with our parents. And not everyone
That's
gets
hard.
that.
That's hard to do in the late teen years and early 20 years.
100%.
At our age now, we're probably already there. Like, we all probably always hang out with our folks and whatnot. But to cross that bridge and have it at that age, I think is really impressive.
And bro, they had it dialed in.
Yeah,
like, I'm talking like every weekend. Like, everyone wanted to be there. It was like the fun place to be.
My friends would do it with my parents because there was alcohol and pot involved.
Well, I think that was the common. I think that's probably quite common, mate. But like, I would love for my daughter. All I would like, right? And I was talking to my barber, and he was telling me that. I said, "Oh, how you doing?" You say, "Yeah, I'm going all right." I said, "What's up?" It's funny how everyone talks to their barbers about shit, right?
Yeah.
I think we got the same barber, actually.
Yeah, oh fuck, I better be careful what I say. But he's telling me, he goes, my daughter's, she's 14, and she's always told me that, vaping's fucked. Like, fucking, how do people do that? It's terrible. Why would people vape? No one should be vaping. It's bad for you. It's bad for you. Anyway, he ends up finding out that she's been pulled in at school, got caught vaping.
Uh-oh.
And you don't really want to fuck with him, right? Because he's a big bloke, and he'll tell you what's up. And this 14-year-old daughter of his, he said, man, it wasn't even about the fucking vaping. It was the fact that she lied to me so much about how she hated the idea of it, and that she said she'd never do it, but then got caught doing it.
Yeah.
He said, I don't care that it was the vaping thing. It's just, why lie to me? Why can't you just say, I'd be interested in seeing what a vape tastes like?
Yeah.
Like, communicate with me and be open with me.
Yeah.
And he asked her, where'd you get this vape from, right? And it's this 19-year-old on Snapchat that's selling them to all these underage people. Wow. So you can imagine what's going on with that 19-year-old.
Yeah.
Everyone's trying to find out where he's at. But, it's... I don't want... I really would like to somehow... If there was a rule book or a way that you could guarantee it where they would always be open and talk to you, I'd be keen for it, because I think that's really important.
I'd read that book for sure.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, they don't come with manuals, but I think it's just the way you bring them up,
And it's reflect on your years of growing up and what because people looking at home probably don't know that we've got a little bit of a history from way back when.
Yeah,
right?
we
used
do.
to sort of hang in the same sort of circle of friends, and it's
100%.
It's
You
only
know
in-
exactly what I was like.
Absolutely.
Probably
and
at my
the
worst.
feeling was mutual. Sorry, I just lost my train of thought. But to be able to go back and say, well, this is what I used to do to get around these things without getting in trouble. Now let's implement some procedures to benefit you and your daughter. With her traveling, with her growing up. Yeah,
look, I mean, if I could be like you said, if there was a book about it, mate, I'd read it. I'm keen to have another child, so and
You're
hopefully,
crazy.
yeah. And you've got two, so what's two like?
Yeah.
it's tough.
Yeah,
But I've got a few businesses too, so
yeah,
that makes it a lot harder.
Yeah.
But it's any more than two, I think you're crazy. Like you need two sets of hands with two kids. Like Cara, like by the time I get home, if she's had the two kids all day, she's done.
yeah.
So it's just a lot of work, and I think it gets easier obviously as I get older. I've got a 11-month-old and a 3-year-old.
Wow,
and,
so that's about
pretty busy.
Yeah, wow, fuck me.
Yeah, pretty busy, but like they go through different stages. So like it's funny. My 3-year-old daughter, is me all over, and I see her sitting there, and I know exactly what she's gonna do, and I know what she's thinking.
She's gonna be a pest when she's 17. Man.
Yeah.
Fuck me.
But she does not. She won't be told. If I say don't do something, she'll go. No, I'm gonna go do that now.
Yeah.
So reverse psychology is a big
Thanks for
thing.
opening up the gate for me to do what I want.
Yeah. It's interesting. Like, two is difficult, but it's been getting easier. Like the second one is a lot easier than the first one. The first one's such a culture shock.
Yeah, oh mate, like for my wife and I mean, all we
like I said, we're going for a month in July to Europe, but we travel so much. Like people always used to make fun of the fact that they'd like, you holiday more than you work. Goes back to what I was saying before, but when I'm at work, I'm twice as productive.
That's right.
I don't care how much I holiday. It's for my sanity.
Yep.
That's probably what got me through mental health problems. If I ever subconsciously had some issues with work, it was book a holiday.
Reset.
Go away, unwind, come back,
Yep.
perform, and do it again. But
Super important.
We just had a bloke at work actually, and he had twins, and it was a surprise. That was 2 years ago, and then on Friday, we knew that she was pregnant again, and he said, I might need to take some time off work. I was like, yeah, it's fine, mate, go for it. And he's messaged us and said, we've just given birth. I was like, oh, yeah, boy or girl? And he said, 2 boys.
Fuck off.
So he's got 4 kids.
He's fucked.
2 sets of twins. Like, come on, man. Are you serious?
That's a minibus, nearly.
He's drawn the sword.
He's already bought the minibus. He's got that in.
I said straight up, like, if I get twins, that's it. Never again.
100%.
2. You can only fit 4 people in a Porsche. I'm not interested in driving anything, Tarago, any of that crap. Yeah. It changes your whole life though. Like having kids, like you were saying earlier.
It was a big look. It was a huge reality check, and I think it's a huge reality check for anybody, especially anyone that has business and then also likes to enjoy time out and go on holidays. I mean, our holidays, like Europe, for example, on the 2nd of July, it consists of me flying the nanny. We've got this wonderful nanny, and she comes everywhere with us. We've taken her to Bali and Queenstown and a few trips in Australia, and obviously, now we're going to go to Europe, and she's going to get a really good time. But yeah, that's just what it is now.
You have to.
You've got kids in it, and then I'm also flying my mum as a bit of a surprise. Actually, hopefully no one sees this overseas because they don't know she's coming. But obviously, being from there, I've flown my mum in to help us, and also to see all of the family that thought they weren't going to get to see her. But that's again,
so cool.
My mum didn't have the money, and I was like, just come. It's a birthday present. So she had an emotional afternoon. In the afternoon, I rang her. But again, it's just goes back to being able to give, and if you can, whether you can give them that way or you can give to people's lives and helping them and to upskill them so that they can achieve their goals. I think it's really important in life. Yeah,
I think like the experiences in life you remember way beyond any materialistic things. Like, yes, you've had 5
for sure.
Audi R8s. You haven't told me any of the other ones, You told me about the first one and this one, But your family will be talking about this trip for forever.
Oh, 100%. And as my mum said to me, when I told her that this was going to happen, she said, James, I never thought I'd get back there. I never thought I'd get back to see any of these people before I died. So, now she's getting to do something that she was never going to be able to do, which is really nice. It's good for me, and it's it's fantastic for her to see all those people again. And she did say to me, she said, but when I come back from this trip, I don't think I'll go back again because of the age that she is. She's just like, it's a big thing. She's like, I just love being out in my farm. I'm just happy to just live out here in the farm. So it is good, and I think it's important. If you can give back, you do.
And touching on getting away too, like Peter, on what our last guest spoke about it, getting away every couple of months, just even if it's a couple of nights, just to break free from the monotonous day-to-day stuff, reset, and like you said, the 8 hours that you're at work, go hard. Like,
be effective.
Yep.
Like why? Otherwise, why go? Like, you may as well just, I don't know, man. Like for me, it's if I'm at work, I'm working.
Yep. I think, like, for me, that sort of reigned home after having kids, because I'm like, every minute I'm at work, I'm not with my kids.
Yeah.
So that's costing me time.
Yeah.
So time is worth more to me now than money.
100%.
So,
well, you know what? I always say this, and I'll be open, certainly in my sort of late teens and through to my 20s, I used to have some big nights. And obviously we'd sort of, we'd have a bit of fun, and I'd often say to people, and they'd say, fucking hell, you preach it all the time. And they loved it, but they'd be like, man, I always say there's one thing you can't buy in life. Well, and then I'd always say, well, there's 2 actually. And they'd be like, what the fuck is this guy on about? And I'd be like, it's time and it's health.
Yep.
Right? I don't care how much money you got, right? You can't buy time. You can't make it. It's not invented. Like the time we're sitting here right now is so important. This is the time we live on the earth, and it's about the experiences we talked before. The second thing, though, is health. You know, like I've had people die really close to me, and it's health.
Mm-hmm.
You can't buy it, right? You know, and those two things, if you give them respect, you respect your time, you respect other people's time, and you really, you know, you be appreciative that if you're up and you're awake and you're healthy, if you've got sickness and you can't beat it, you're fucked.
Yep.
And those two things, man, health and time, really important, and they're very valuable to me in my life.
Which is why you're running at 4:45 in the morning.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
I mean, look, I'll tell you right now. Well, you knew me back in the gym. I used to be quite a lean, very much focused on health and was quite strong. And you know, having a child and being in business, I've noticed that, you know, being able to look down and actually have abs and be quite ripped, to then watching the success path of business and how that takes over that time that we're talking about, and not being able to focus on your health. And you link all that together and you realize that sometimes success and being very focused on business actually pulls away from the time you have and your health.
Yep.
And, you know, I find myself in that position at the moment. I've planned this trip to go to London and see family, but we're doing Mykonos and Capri and Sicily and Switzerland prior. So we're sort of working our way from Mykonos to London where I'll see family. And I'm like, you know, I was 113 kilos or something, and I've just got down to 105 and a half, 106, depending on the day and what I've eaten the day before. But my plan is to get to 100 again if I can get there, which I will. That's why I missed PT and had a terrible sleep. I was telling you guys earlier last night. But yeah, I mean, trying to get my health back on track now is the most important thing. You know, I had a business coach that I engaged for a 6-week period to help mentor me into this general manager role. And as part of that, he said, look, mate, people probably look at you like you've got all your life in check. As you said, you've got the things that you want in life, material things that you want, you know, you're able to do this and do that. But imagine if you had all of that, you know, the house and the wife and the baby and the cars and boats and skis and bikes and whatever, but you're missing your health. Imagine if you had it all sorted out.
Yep.
And so for me, that's really put me on this journey of, I've engaged Jack from Vision in Southport, and you know, we're training 3 times a week. He keeps me accountable to the food. And the days I'm not training with him, I'm doing, you know, like on Thursday morning, I did a 6.5K run. I usually run between sort of 5 and 8Ks, and just got to get active. And I think, you know, the health part of life's really important. Business can take away from that. And I think if you can, that's the part that I'm missing.
Yeah.
That's the part I want to get. So I'll get it. You know, like anything in life, I'm going to stay on course and stay focused, keep my mind right.
Yeah.
And it'll happen. I think by Christmas, I'll be exactly where I want to be.
Loaded and shredded.
Well, I think we'll probably sit back on this couch at Christmas, mate, and I'll be different, that's for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm fighting that same battle. I've had a big 2 years in business and just pushed like you wouldn't believe, and everything else starts to slip. You know, I'm like, I bought a brand new mountain bike to go mountain biking, used it twice. I'm like,
crazy, eh?
I was so annoyed with myself, but at the same time, there's only so many hours in the day.
Yeah.
You know, between family, work, like, you know, those things can slip from you. So I think staying on top of your time management and looking after yourself is pretty important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I found moving up to the Gold Coast was one of the best things for my lifestyle and looking after myself, because I moved to a place that was overlooking the beach at Burleigh. And for me, it was like I'd be sitting there working away and I'd be like, oh, all I want to do is go down the beach. And so as soon as possible, I'd get everything done. There was no point dilly-dallying or messing around with the work. And then it's like, all right, cool. And I wouldn't always make it to the beach before it was, you know, too cold to get in there. But at least it got me out. You know, there was no point staying locked up in the office all day long.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is hard, you know. The office style jobs are always the hard ones, especially if you're a director or you're high up in the business and you're sort of needed to be there a lot of the time. That's where I find the time and health thing that I, you know, really focus on in life and want people to understand is that you can't take it for granted. Yeah. That's the shift that I'm applying to my life now to try and fix. But yeah, mate. Apart from that, I'm just, as I say to some people, I'm just an average bloke having a crack at life.
Hell yeah,
Love that shit.
Good work.
Yep.
Love it.
That's it.
Yep.
I'm no special. I'm not special. Like there's nothing special about it. It's just I'm having a crack, and that's what everyone needs to do out there.
Absolutely.
Have a crack.
Yep.
And I'm curious, like you mentioned, you know, passing on a bit of the wealth to your daughter and to family, and you know, like we're probably all going to be forgotten in a couple of 100 years, and maybe this is a bit of a morbid question, but what do you think about legacy? You know, as someone who's ticked the boxes of you know, financial success that you were looking for, what do you think about passing it on? And you know, is it even a priority for you?
Yeah, it is. Like I'm definitely. I'd like to build a portfolio of property. As I said, I've got the farm.
Yep.
I plan on buying a couple more investment properties this year, and essentially, if I can provide her with the respect in understanding the value of a dollar, which not a lot of people have, which fucks me off.
Yep.
If I can give her the knowledge about understanding the value of a dollar, but also provide her with the ability to have a stable and healthy life, and that when she has kids, that there's property. And I want to buy her first car.
Yeah.
You know, to have someone just buy you your first car, like a brand new car, I didn't have that. I'd love that for her. You know, I'd like to ensure that she's just in a position where she's not struggling, where there isn't issues. And for me, that's a legacy enough. But, you know, I'm sure that I'm going to leave her more. But, you know, just to say that, you know, Grandpa J-Mac or whatever I'll get fucking called when I'm a grandpa, I don't know, Papa or whatever, that I've done something for the family, you know, and I think, you know, that's all I want. I don't want to take over the world, but I just want to leave something good. Yeah.
Yeah. That's awesome. I think that's all we all want to do.
Pretty much everyone sitting on this couch and in this room has probably said the exact same thing.
Awesome. Well, certainly appreciate your time.
No worries,
There's
mate.
a lot of takeaways there for the guests, and yeah, we should probably go have a look at this thing.
Yeah.
Sounds pretty rowdy on the way in, so do a bit of a walk around and have a
And
look.
you can show us what you've done to it, what the tasteful mods are, and maybe give us a bit of a hint on what's coming next.
Yeah. All right. Done.
Porsche.
All right. Thanks, James. Thanks so much for joining.
No worries. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you.